Hey, this is Q Creative Studio, Master Drawing Japan. Let's make a point to draw every day. So, I did a video the other day about drawing animals, and I'm sorry it cut off at the end. So I wasn't really satisfied that with that video. So I thought it might be a good idea just to cover a couple of things that I wanted to um, show you guys in that video that I couldn't because I got cut off. So um, one of the things I wanted to talk about was like when you're drawing animals, right? I think the best thing to do is like to treat it the same way that you would like for a human, which is really like getting like the gesture down first, right? This is like one way of doing it. Okay. I just like to get like the overall like the basic energy down first, right? And then I lay the volumes in after that, right? In terms of like the actual body, okay. I mean, animals of course are walking on four legs, so in terms of like the relationship between like the hips and the rib cage, it's going to be a little bit different in terms of the fact that it is in a horizontal position as opposed to us. We're in a vertical position. Your landmarks, again, that major landmark, which is like the scapula, the scapula here, right? Which you know you have like this S curve going back to like where the elbow would be, right? Scapula is this triangular kind of shape you have here, and yeah, that comes forward, and you got this kind of relationship. Okay, so now of course it'll be best if you guys like had access to a horse, so you can actually like or some kind of animal, so you can see like where things are going, stuff like that. um you can do is like you can go to the zoo, spend time at the zoo. You know every now and then I make a point to spend a day at the zoo and really just draw. Draw the animals, observe them. Another landmark here, which is the pelvis, which is actually, it's kind of like a plate, right? It's going at an angle like that. Okay, and that feeds into the leg here. Okay, this would be like the femur. Okay, and that feeds into that. Okay, so I'm from New York, and nope, I did not grow up around. Actually, well, let me take that back. I did grow up around horses, but the horses we have in New York are police horses. All right, so I know. I mean, so they were not necessarily an everyday thing, but uh, but actually seeing a horse was not all that unusual in New York. So what I'm trying, I guess what I'm saying is that you guys um, um, might have like more access to animals uh, than you think, actually. Put his ears back like that. Okay. Um, just so that you remember, okay. Um, in terms of like how like to measure out um, animals and things like that, especially for horses. The scapula is like roughly about the same size as like as the head for the horse. So that's something you can use to help you, to help you make sure like you stay on point with how to measure things out. Okay. All right. I'm not gonna belabor this too much because I just wanted to do like a quick sketch for you guys so you can see. Um, oops, that's not right. Actually, it's okay. But actually, the knee is actually here. It should be like that. So, you know, for me, the best way of like learning like how to how to draw anything is really like to really understand like um uh, how um how it is constructed. When I say like constructed, I mean like anatomy wise, underneath. My whole thing is like if I know what's happening underneath it, I can definitely I can draw it. You know. Okay. All right. So anyway, so this here's a horse uh, that I wanted to show, but but the way I was able to lay this in, it's really this landmark, like the scapula, the humerus, which is like an S curve, and then that feeds into the equivalent of like what would be like the forearm, and then actually this part here is the will be like the hand, and actually um, hoof animals, the equivalent for them is like they're actually like they're walking on their toes. Um, that's that's what the anatomy is. Basically, right? Okay. All right. So all right. So that's that. Okay. Um, Another thing, that um, I, I noticed this. It's a little bit difficult like to get around. It's like how to like show like the weight and like how it's like distributed and stuff like that. Particularly like when the animal is moving. Um, like this little scribble here that I did. I'm sorry. I did this. It's a not a long story, but I was in a cabaret and I was trying to draw something, but I couldn't finish it. But you could see that I planted one foot down here, to show like where how the weight is being balanced and distributed, right? So if I were to draw it normally, I would consider like where like the pelvis is, then foot, right? This foot here, head, okay, shoulders, okay, and I can do that, okay. So even though it's like a little stick figure, we do have like a sensation of what we say is contrapposto, which is like a an offsetting of the weight, right? And then from that, I can add my volumes on here like this, right? Okay, so what I'm getting at is like how does this like pertain to to animals, right? So what I guess what I'm talking about is like this contact point. Um, so like where's like the contact point like when you're drawing animals, right? So that's something you really have to get it, develop an understanding like through analysis and always like watch how animals move, you know. So like, you know, if you have a dog or a cat, you know, like always like notice like their gait and stuff like that. But like once you see like with a contact point, that's like where like the most pressure is being put. That you can use that as like an anchor um, for um, um, for like when you build when you build the figure, right? So for example, I'll tell you what. Let's say if I had a you know what? Let's say if I had like a horse that was like coming like out at us, right? So okay, get the general gesture down. So I know the basic relationship is going to be this, right? Like here's like the torso, and then the tail's going to be here, and then the head is going to be coming out this way, right? Sorry, doing it very very light, but it's almost like this for a human. You know, we have like a flour sack like this, right? Where you have like this volume and like this volume, but this is in a you know this is in a horizontal position, right? But for animal, animal's going to be like this because you know the weight is pulling it down like that. So you have this kind of relationship. Tail, okay, belly, rib cage, and the neck, okay, and then from there, you know, you got scapula, humerus, right, forearm, okay, and that's going to vary again, you know, depending whether if this is like a hooved animal, you know, or if it's like a pawed animal, okay. You know, if it's a hooved animal, you know, then you know you're gonna get something like that, okay. This kind of relationship, okay. There's the pelvis goes into the knee, yeah, like that. This kind of relationship, okay. Another thing, also, when you draw the tail, try to you can see what I did here. You see, like the tail actually it goes through the pelvis. So the tail doesn't come off like off the top, like this. No, that's a no. Okay, the tail is actually down because the tail is actually it's gonna be part of the spine, and that's down here. So it's gonna come out like that. Okay, so that's something you should remember. If you're gonna put the tail, make sure it goes through the pelvis. Okay. And then the head is basically kind of like that. Okay. Basically speaking. Okay. All right. So anyway, so like I said, if I said I had an animal that was like coming out at us, right? So let's say the contact point for this one, I'm gonna put it down here, boom, like that, and I'm gonna lock it in like that. So I know like there's tension going down here, right? So if the tension is here, right, that means the other areas are going to be lighter, right? Um, Forearm and I'll do kind of like that. Okay. And have this one this. All right. And let's say I'll have kind of like that. And I'll do it like this. Okay. Sure. Foot. Okay. And this is going flat. Make sure you have your turning edge there, so you don't lose track of what you're doing. Okay. And other foot, and of course I have to imply it back here. Kind of like that. Okay. And again, this is roughly speaking that'll be there. Hand, foot, and again, yeah. The horse's hooves are made of keratin. You know, just like our our fingernails. You know, so that's just something for you to keep in mind, that you know what you're seeing is yeah, when you look at a horse's hooves, that's actually their fingernail. Actually, they're actually making contact with their fingernails. Believe it or not. Okay, here's the head. I'm gonna have some fun here, and I'm gonna foreshorten this a little bit. Another thing to remember, like when you draw the head of a horse, okay, the top part is kind of like shaped like a diamond. So you get this kind of relationship, actually, and this always goes back. So like the eyes will be here in this point, and this goes down here to like where the snout would be. All right. Essentially, like, you know, their temple is here, roughly speaking. Okay. Nose. Okay. Horses have this really nice big masseter muscle here, this big jaw, because they like to chew. That's what they do, because, you know, they're not predators like lions. Even though, you know, predators do have large they do have like large masseter cheekbone muscles. Also, they do, but I would argue that horses probably have them a little bit bigger. Okay. Okay. Two eyes here. And another thing, when you draw, you know, try to make sure that, you know, you always like you offset your curves with a straight, if that makes any sense to you guys. Because you know, everything is like really about like contrast, right? Okay. And this muscle I was telling you about the other day, that comes down here, and actually that feeds into the top of the horse's humerus up here. Okay, this comes like that, fits into there. Actually, I think I said in the video the other day that horses or four-legged animals like don't have they don't have clavicles. And actually, I mean, I gotta check it, but I am inclined to believe that I think they do. It's just that their clavicles have evolved differently, so that the clavicle, their quote unquote clavicle is more like a new rib cage, actually. I'm sorry, that makes sense. I mean, another rib. That's what I meant to say. It tends to be like another rib, which doesn't really necessarily connect into anything. But I guess maybe that doesn't define it as a clavicle anymore, right? Let me bring this out a little bit more. Actually, maybe we'll stretch this out. There we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, and the tail. Sorry. So again, remember, like if the pelvis is here, right? That means like the tail is gonna come down like that. Okay. And by the way, the horse's tail, it's pretty much really, it's like a, you have like this rod sticking out, but then like you have like the hairs branching off of it like that. So it's almost like a wand. So in other words, it's not the horse doesn't have like just hair like growing out of its butt, right? We never actually get to see like the horse's the actual, the actual rod tail, that we see coming out here. So that's something to keep in mind in terms of like how it's being formed. Okay. Okay. All right. I think that's the basic idea, guys. I think that's good enough. Yeah. For now. Okay. So I just wanted to just do this little quick demo here for like drawing a horse, but I don't just you can see this very clearly, but again when I put this down here, I set this part as like the contact point, right? So that's going to give me like a little bit more of a sense of like weight, as I'm drawing this, and so you can see like how like the weight is going to be transferred. Like if this horse is coming forward, this needs some sort of support. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stop with that, and I will see you guys next time. All right. Bye bye.